Little flare onto right. Abreu in on that. Makes the catch. Red Sox sweep it. A little bit of rain tonight. Could not cool off. The Red Sox, 10 runs, 15 hits. And the Red Sox in the win column. They are now 4 games over 5.
An uncompetitive game. Not that anyone around here should be complaining about it, given the way things have gone over the last 6 years. It was indeed 10-2, 2 nights in a row. The night before that was 9-3. The day before that was 6-4. The day before that was 10-3. The day before that was 11-2. Against the Washington Nationals on the Colorado Rockies, 6 in a row, 8 out of 9, 9 out of 11. Here you go. Red Sox now 4 games over 500 and chasing a playoff spot with the Tampa Bay Rays in town to open a 4-game weekend series before the All-Star break right here in Boston at Fenway Park. So let me ask you this question in all seriousness. And I asked this to Matt McCarthy the other night, but tonight I'm in the studio alone. So, I asked really everybody when I say this, but I asked McCarthy because he was here. So let me ask you. Do you think they can make the playoffs? Has anything in the last week changed your mind? And during the course of Felger and Maz today here in studio, Jim Murray is busting our balls a little bit about the fact that, people like me are sort of looking at the Red Sox and say, I want them to add at the deadline. I want the Red Sox to play meaningful games in August and September. I've been saying this really now for about a week. I mean, maybe a little less than a week after the series against the Nationals, I suppose. I really kicked it into another gear. But here's my point. You've been bitching, as have I, about the last 6 years and how the Red Sox have been the perfectly mediocre C-level team since the start of the 2019 season, but really since 2020. Starting with 2020, as of yesterday, I think it was, they were exactly 400 and 400 or earlier in the week. So now all of a sudden, they got a little surge going. The All-Star break is coming up. And you look at them and you say, well, wait a minute. What if it's actually starting to come together? What if the young guys are now here and haven't just gotten to the big leagues in the last 2 days, but have had a little time to sort of settle in and start playing, and we see what they can do? We know that Roman Anthony can hit at the big league level. We know that Marcelo Meyer can hit right-handed pitching and can play defense. So he can help just by being here. So I look at all of that, and I hear from a lot of you all the time, and people get mad at me. Yeah, Maz, in 2013, you didn't get on board till September. Yeah, Maz, in 2018, you didn't believe it till the playoffs. Let me tell you what I want. Okay? What I want more than anything else, especially now, given the way the last 5 or 6 years have gone, and I'm not ashamed to tell you this, I want drama is what I want. I want real, meaningful baseball in the final 6 weeks of the season. If you've listened to this show since we came on the air, you know that I believe in a few things when it comes to baseball. I believe in fast starts and strong finishes. You don't always get what you want, but if I look at the Red Sox teams that have succeeded over the years, many of them have started fast and they finished strong. The finish strong part is in some ways more important. In 2015, for example, the Red Sox were in last place, but in the final 40 meaningful games of the year, they went 26-14, and then the next year they made the playoffs. So the strong finish part means something to me, and think of how long, as a follower of the team, you have been waiting and been told that Marcelo Meyer is coming, that Roman Anthony is coming. Christian Campbell was a late ad. Kyle Teal was supposed to be the original member of the Big Three. Anthony and Meyer were really the two that were going to be here no matter what, as time went on. Campbell, maybe he'll be back. But you're going to wait all that time and get to this stage and want them to sell at the deadline? That's ridiculous. It's freaking asinine. So what I want Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer and whoever else, whether Jaron Duran is here or not, Ceddanne Rafaela is here or not. I want them playing in important games in August and September. And I'll say after August 15th. It's another one of my theories. Trading deadline comes on August 1st. Give the team about 2 weeks to settle after they make those changes, and then run to the finish line in the final 6 weeks. Those final 6 weeks, always important. Wouldn't you rather have meaningful games than be 10 games out and all that really matters is the individual numbers? Who doesn't want that? I mean, that feels like an easy one. So think of it. Think of being there on September 15th, tied for a wild card spot, down 3-2 in the 8th inning, bases loaded, 2 outs, and Anthony steps into the batter's box. Isn't that a moment worth watching? And that's what I mean by drama. Who wouldn't want that? So, do I think that the Red Sox are going to make the playoffs? I don't know. I couldn't possibly sit here and tell you that I know. What I can tell you, though, is based on what I'm watching now, is that they can make it. Especially when Jimmy Stewart tells me before the show that one of the trades they're potentially discussing is with the Minnesota Twins, a deal involving Jaron Duran for the Twins' right-handed pitcher, Joe Ryan. You tell me if Joe Ryan doesn't join the rotation, rather, and fill in behind Garrett Crochet, that you can't make the playoffs? Because I sure as hell think you can. I love Joe Ryan. Love him. I liked him since the first time I saw him pitch at Fenway Park. He's the guy, or a guy, the Twins got from Tampa Bay for Nelson Cruz many years ago at the trade deadline. You put him in this Red Sox rotation and put him behind Crochet, and Bayo becomes your number 3, and you want to fill it out with Fitz or Dobbins or whoever else, whether it's Walker Buehler or not, no problem. I'll take my chances. So again, beating up on the bad teams. Does it mean anything? In terms of who they are? Not really. But it got you back in it by going 6-0. You're now tied with the Mariners, .001 out of a playoff spot. So again, 617-779-0985. Do you think they can make it? Do you think they can make it? Not will make it, can. Can they get there? I think the answer is clearly yes. Yes, they can get there. I felt that way for the majority of the year. There have been stretches along the way where I've lost hope. But now they're playing better. They're putting the ball in play. And to me, it's some of the little things that should really trigger for you. Striking out less. They actually executed a relay last night in which Jaron Duran hit Trevor Story with a throw. Story then threw out a runner at the plate by 10 feet. Pitchers are throwing strikes. So they're not walking guys. They're not striking out as much. They're executing simple plays, albeit, but executing nonetheless. They're hitting for average and power. We have a big thing for me, too, is the clearly defined roles in the lineup and the batting order, because I think they have settled now on a system that seems to work for them. Everybody knows when they're going to play and when they're not going to play. We know how the bullpen's going to be used. I think a lot of that has cleared up. So again, do I think they're perfect? No. But the American League sucks. It wouldn't take much to get in. And they're not going to win 10-2 every night. But if they at least play to their capabilities, could they make it interesting down the stretch and push it? My answer is yes. So again, 617-779-0985. That's where I want to start. I certainly want to talk to Jimmy a little bit about that Joe Ryan rumor that he heard. We'll play some sound from Sam Kennedy for you as well. And just a whole bunch really to get to with regard to the Red Sox. We'll give you the pitching matchups with the Rays, all that stuff. Because again, it's a big one. 4-game series with Tampa. If the Red Sox lose 3 out of 4, or heaven forbid, get swept, then you show up on Monday and you say, well, that whole thing was just about the opponents, wasn't about the Red Sox. I think these 4 games this weekend start to give you some perspective on who they now are. Tom is in Hull. Tom, what do you got?
Hey, Maz, I totally agree with you, buddy. You know your baseball, and I'm all in with you. The Joe Ryan thing. If we can, I like Durant, but if we get Joe Ryan, that gives us two legitimate aces, and we can absolutely make a run. I'm loving the fact. The Devers thing is finally, settling down. I guess I was upset with, the way Devers was acting and stuff. I'm one of the guys that I could care less. Get rid of the salary, blah, blah, blah. We get these young guys, Mass, and they're coming together. And yeah, okay, we beat two lousy teams, but they're young guys. We got a young team coming together, and we're getting Bregman back. And when he comes back, watch out. And if we get Joe Ryan, Maz, could be an interesting, August and September. All right, buddy, you're the best.
Thanks, Tom. So, look, again, to me, that's really what it comes down to. Just make it interesting. Just make it interesting. And if you're the Red Sox, and we'll play this sound for you when we come back for the next segment, Sam Kennedy addressed the Red Sox at the trade deadline again and talked about how they need to continue to perform here in order for them to be decisive at the trade deadline. Right now, their intention is to make a run for the playoffs, that they have had the playoffs in mind all year. These are the things that Kennedy and Craig Breslow and the organization as a whole, these are the things that they've been saying of late, and I generally believe them. I think the Red Sox thought that they were going to be pretty good this year. The large majority of the first half has been a disappointment. And you'll hear Sam Kennedy say that. You'll also hear him say some other things that I want to delve into a little deeper, because he's putting a lot of emphasis on these games coming up in, let's call it the next 3 weeks. Trading deadline's on August 1st. Today's July 10th. So, what Sam Kennedy said when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
The Baseball Hour.
Position, if you go all the way back to the offseason, the position was one of aggression and urgency. Nothing has changed right now. We had a frustrating first half. I mean, I think everyone would agree that this was a first half that was not representative of what we thought we were going to see. I'd say the last week, 10 days, has been more representative of what we want to see out of this club. And your point is right. I mean, we're playing teams that are beatable, but you have to beat them. But we just have to keep this thing going, keep getting the pitching performances we've had. The offense has showed up, and we need to keep putting our foot on the accelerator, and the aggression can then continue. And I will say, we have a lot of difficult roster decisions. That's why Brez and AC make the big bucks. I mean, there's a lot of difficult baseball decisions, conversations that have to happen over the next couple weeks, unrelated to the trading deadline, because of the fact that we have a lot of good players and a lot of great depth on this team, which is a great problem to have. And we're sort of, we should be celebrating that, but they are hard decisions.
Keep their basically pedal to the metal, their foot on the gas as they continue to go forward here, and they can't have any sort of lapses. And there's not a lot of time between now and the deadline now. Again, 3 weeks, and some of that time is going to be the All-Star break. So, you add up the 3 weeks, it's 21 days, 22 days if you count August 1. And then on top of it, you take away the 4 from the deadline. So it's really 2.5 weeks of games. I mean, that's it. So you can't slip up. And I interpret that in a couple of ways. We talked about this earlier in the day on Felger and Maz. But I'll tell you, one of the things I take out of that is that the Red Sox are tired of some of the nonsense that's gone on at the All-Star break over the last several years, or few years anyway. That when you look at it, and what has happened routinely at the All-Star break with this team is obvious. The Red Sox have had all these little surges before the break. Then they come out of the break, and it feels like there is nothing to suggest that ownership and management is going to invest in the team. The clubhouse revolts. Alex Cora seems to lead it in a lot of ways and undermine the cause. And as a result, the team gets worse immediately after the trading deadline. They go into the tank. It's happened that way. But the same script has been the same pretty much for 3 or 4 years now. It happens over and over. So I think this is Kennedy's way of saying, stop with the bitching and just stay focused and keep playing. That's how I took that. And then the part about we have some tough roster decisions coming up. And the more this didn't occur to me earlier, but I wonder if it's his way of saying we may be moving a couple of pieces off of this big league roster to alleviate a glut of positional overlap, if that's what we have. Now, the part about, we have a deep roster, I think it's a little overstated. They're not that deep. I mean, I don't consider David Hamilton and Connor Wong to be depth. So now Wong's going to stay on the team because you need a backup catcher. But does David Hamilton have to stay on the roster and you send Marcelo Meyer down to AAA? Because that feels ridiculous to me. But anyway, I wonder if Jarren Duran's on the way out. You've got 4 starting outfielders. Does that mean you have to move one? No. You can rotate them through, and if you add Yoshida in there, you can basically play 5 guys for 4 spots if you add in DH. So every 5th day, someone gets a day off. Not the worst thing in the world. But if you can move Duran for pitching and get some help for Garrett Crochet in that rotation, you tell me you wouldn't do that? Let's go to Rob and Bill Ricker. Rob, what do you got?
What's up, Matt? 2-part question for you. First one is this false hope or is the hype real? I mean, we just beat the 2 worst teams in baseball.
What do you think, Rob? What do you think?
I think it's false hope, man. I think last 3-4 years, it's the same song and dance on repeat, just kind of like what you said. I think when Walker gets on the bump tonight, he's going to let up 5 in the first 2 innings, and it's going to be the same conversation again tomorrow.
Okay, and that may that may very well be true. But let me just stay on this topic with you. Does the team feel the same way to you right now as it did a year ago or 2 years ago?
No, I actually think the culture is pretty good right now, especially when you're looking at the bench. Everyone's up, they're all talking, they're all hanging out. I think the culture is great, but when you move Duran or you move Abreu, it's going to go right back down.
They're not going to move Abreu, but go ahead. What else?
Second thing, with all the money we got back with Devers, you think we can get Skeens?
No. And this one's going up my ass, too. Since we talked about this earlier in the day, if they can get Skeens, then, again, how are you going to get Skeens without giving up Meyer or Anthony or one of those guys? How are you going to do that? So people need to, and again, focus on winning, not on, the next great young pitcher and building. I like Skeens, too. Who wouldn't want Skeens? Everybody would want Skeens. You're going to give up Meyer and Anthony to get him? I'm not doing that. And what, start all over again? So this is the one that drives me crazy. Bringing in, and Skeens isn't a prospect, but he's the closest thing that a big leaguer can be to a prospect. He's only been in the big leagues a year. I love him too. I'd rather move Jarren Duran and get Joe Ryan. Jimmy Stewart, what did you hear on Duran and Ryan?
I heard that it was talked about, much like the internet's scuttlebutt. But I heard that the Twins asked the Red Sox for Peyton Tolley, a left-handed pitcher who's currently in Portland. He's considered their third prospect right now, but if Anthony and Meyer get moved off of their top prospect list, he would become their number one prospect. And I heard that the Red Sox said no to that. Okay, so again, if Anthony and Meyer are considered big leagues, Peyton Toll or Tolley, it's Tolle. I think it's Toll. But if Anthony and Meyer are considered big leaguers, Toll is now their number one prospect? Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I wouldn't move him. I would not move him to Minnesota. That I wouldn't do. Not to get Joe Ryan. I like Joe Ryan a lot, and I want Joe Ryan.
I've also heard that he wants Boston. Joe Ryan would love to come to Boston and be part of the Red Sox.
Okay, so to me, there's a deal to be made there. If that is, the Red Sox should have enough to make that deal. So Jarren Duran's got 3 years left before he's eligible for free agency, and that's 3 years after this one. Ryan has 2. So the Twins get a year of service right there, and not that Duran's the same player as, same caliber player as Joe Ryan. I like Joe Ryan a lot. I think Joe Ryan is a more consistent big leaguer than Jarren Duran is. So you're going to have to throw something in there, but it should not be your number one pitching prospect. But if the Red Sox want to keep him, they have 3 other guys, I think, that are in their top 10. They can't trade one of those or some combination of them.
Or take the Devers package that you got, put that with Duran, and send it to Minnesota.
Absolutely. Something like that. Now, again, does that mean that there isn't going to be another team that makes the Twins a better offer? I have no idea. But I would hope that that's how the Red Sox are, what they're aiming at, is a guy like Joe Ryan.
They should be, and do it now. Be aggressive. I know you people, you and Mike, don't like to do schedule talk when it comes to baseball, but do it now so that when the All-Star break, you come back from the All-Star break, you can set up your pitching rotation for the Cubs, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Twins. You can set all that stuff up, and you have no questions. It gives Joe Ryan a chance to come in, figure out Boston, get his situation, get his life stuff in order, and then, boom, you're ready to go for the second half for post-All-Star break.
Jimmy, I'll do schedule talk. I'm okay with schedule talk because in this particular case, what you're saying is you've got some tough games coming up. Why not get them sooner rather than later?
Yeah, but the Dodgers have lost 6 in a row. You never know.
Okay, but that's logical to me. I would absolutely do that. Jeff's in Norwood. Jeff, what do you got?
Well, I got to say that the fact is that Duran, if he's not hitting for power and he's not running, doesn't really offer you much because he doesn't get on base. So if you move him for Ryan, great. I think that would be a fleecing, to be honest with you, because I don't really think Duran's all that wonderful. You said something a couple days ago about how Breslow's moves have largely been actually pretty darn good, save for Walker Buehler. But my question is, what does he see at the deadline? And outside of Duran, who would he have to trade to really make this team better to the degree that they could make it to the postseason and potentially win a round or two?
Well, so Jeff, look, I don't know how much he has to trade from the big league level. I mean, that is, Duran is a little bit of a luxury at the moment because you have 4 starting outfielders. Rafael is playing well. Abreu has played well. You're not moving Anthony, so someone's out. And Duran's cheap. Let's not leave that part out, although he's going to be arbitration eligible again at the end of this year. So his salary is going to go up, as is Ryan's, by the way. And they make about the same money. Duran's 3.75, I think it is, and Ryan's $3 million. So they're both going to go up. But what pitching are you going to trade that's going to appeal to people? You could trade Chapman, I guess, if you wanted, but I don't like creating another hole on the roster. Again, I want to make trades with the idea of getting into the playoffs. That's the goal. I'm not looking to make trades with the idea of improving in 2026. You can go pound sand with that. The Red Sox have been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years. They got to this point. They said in the offseason that the time was now. They wanted to operate with urgency. And so I understand that the first half hasn't gone well. But they made the decision on Devers. Now Bregman's coming back. And it feels like Anthony is here to stay. Maybe Meyer too, although there are rumors about him going back to AAA, which kind of pisses me off. But neither here nor there. Whatever, you get the idea. I feel like they're playing well. And maybe there's actually a reason to start believing again. So they're going to what? Trade for prospects? Move Chapman? That's ridiculous.
Well, Tony, there you can move Chapman somewhere else, take those prospects, and get another closer. Like if you want to expand this deal with the Twins to Joe Ryan and their closer Duran, like do something like that. In the same way that.
But Jimmy, here's what I would tell you: you can figure out closer without trading for it. You should be able to figure out that without trading for it. So that is not something that, again, they signed Chapman for $10 million, and all of a sudden he's like the best reliever in the league. So they have other needs that to me would require their use of resources. So I would keep Chapman, but I understand your point.
I'd like to add to Chapman in the bullpen, quite frankly.
Definitely. And I'm telling you, if they have all these guys in their system, again, they have 3 or 4. I'm going by the Baseball America top 10. The Sox prospects guys do a good job too. But the reason I say Baseball America is because it's an objective body. They evaluate the whole league. According to them, the Red Sox have 4 guys in their top 10. 4 pitchers in their top 10, including a couple of lefties. So if the Twins want a lefty, give them a lefty. If you don't want to give them Toll, give them the next lefty. And you'll have Ryan for a couple of years, and that's not 1 year, that's 2. That's worth something. If you want to be a contender, you're going to need a guy like him behind Crochet.
Give them 2 of those 3 remaining pitchers.
I mean, exactly, Jimmy. The point being, there's a package to be made, right? I think you and I are in agreement on that. So if there's a deal to be made there, if they have some interest in Jarren Duran, and they're willing to make a trade involving Duran, figure it out. Jake's in Rhode Island. Jake, what do you got?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind?
I got a question. How do you feel about, well, I don't know if his availability is anything, but what about Bo Naylor from Cleveland? I know he plays catcher, and he'd probably be able to play first base, too, as a backup catcher. I don't know, just another option. Also, something else I was thinking about, if the Red Sox are going to be selling at the trade deadline, why not move on from Trevor Story now? He's red hot, and you could probably get a lot back for him.
Okay, so again, I don't want to rip the team apart. This is like one of those things that when you start talking about the trading deadline, everyone says, well, get rid of Story right now. Okay, look, I don't love Story either. He's got 2 more years, I think, doesn't he, after this one? 2 more seasons at $23 million per
Probably plus a team option. Okay,
so like, who's going to take on that money? You think you're going to really get someone to take the cheese on Trevor Story because he's had a hot month, and all of a sudden and they're going to be willing to take on the $23 million when his OPS is still just 700? So think about adding to what you have. This is part of the problem, too. You've been so beaten down over the last 5 years watching teams that suck that all you can think about is trading for someone for the future. Let me get rid of the veteran guy. There's nothing wrong with Trevor Story on the roster if he's hitting 7th or 6th or wherever he is. Bottom half of the lineup, he's fine. The defense is good. He threw a guy out at the plate last night. It's not great, but it's good. He's fine. I would say the same about Rafaela. Fine, he's your number 9 hitter. Abreu is a little more than that, so you need more, and he's giving you more. What you need is a legit starting pitcher. You're not going to get that for Trevor Story. Come to me with something realistic, please. And something that you'd be willing to do For all of you that love talking about the prospects, who can they move and add to a deal with Duran to get Joe Ryan? If Milliken's out there, maybe Milliken could call in. That's what they should be focused on. Stop trying to dump guys. Add. Kevin Majori's got your headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox made it 6 in a row last night as they completed a sweep of the Colorado Rockies. Now they must face real competition as they welcome in the Tampa Bay Rays to Fenway Park for a 4-game set. Walker Buehler will start for the Sox tonight. Tampa counters with Taj Bradley. First pitch, 7:10. NBA news today, Jake Weinbach, NBA insider, reports that a potential reunion between Marcus Smart and the Celtics would not be off the table. However, the New York Post is reporting that, according to a source, the Knicks are monitoring the situation with Marcus Smart. On a recent live stream, Giannis Antetokounmpo said he will probably stay with the Bucks and added that he loves Milwaukee. Oklahoma City Thunder's Jalen Williams has agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension that could reach $287 million. And Anthony Slater, who covers the Golden State Warriors for The Athletic, tweeting today that Steph Curry, when asked about Al Horford possibly joining the Warriors, said he's a champion, a great player. When all that stuff happens, I'll talk about it. So Curry possibly dropping a hint there about Al Horford and the Warriors. And at Wimbledon today, American Amanda Anisimova upset the top-seeded Aryna Sabalenka in 3 sets to reach the final. She will face Iga Swiatek, who won in straight sets. Sports Up headlines are they're presented by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. I'm Kevin Majori on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
You're listening to the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Hey, it's Maz for Boston Solar, and this week's Bright Spot, powered by Boston Solar, is from Tuesday night. Brian Bayo took the mound, powered through all 9 innings, complete game, struck out 10, led the Red Sox to their 5th straight win. Clearly meant a lot to him because he kept the baseball from the game. So always make sure you have enough power with Boston Solar. That's Boston built, Boston trusted, Boston Solar.
Hey, it's Felger here, and there's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside iced tea and vodka or Surfside lemonade and vodka to break the heat. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation. It's not a seltzer, it's a Surfside. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
When Nate comes to Gate City Casino...
Hey, Nate's here!
Hey, guys. It feels like Nate City. My favorite drinks, food, and of course... Pull up a chair, Nate. Deal me in. All the games you know and love to play. I'm not just a player here. I'm one of the gang. Unwind with friends. Chill in our sports bar. Or get in the game at Gate City Casino. Your local casino with something for everyone. Gate City Casino. Nashua, Exit 4.
As much as I'd love to be, I'm the furthest thing from being a car guy. I feel like every time I take my car to the shop, be it for routine maintenance or repair, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. That is until I went to Meineke. See, Meineke is doing car care right. Meineke is total car care. Engines, brakes, tires, even oil changes. Meineke Car Care is your local, independently owned, one-stop shop for total car care. Visit Meineke.com for a location near you. That's Meineke.com to schedule your appointment today. Trust your key with Meineke, doing car care right.
Hi, it's Joe at Super Service Today. All of our drain cleaning services include a free camera inspection so our technicians can pinpoint the exact issue and get it fixed quick. Day or night, always done right.
Get it done right away. Call superservicetoday.com.
Town Fair Tire sells all the name brand tires, and we sell them all at the guaranteed lowest price. Plus, because Town Fair Tire also gives you more free services than all the other tire dealers, nobody beats
Town Fair Tire.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars.
Freeman churning around third. He's trying to score. Story with the throw to the plate. Here's the tag! He's out at home! Beautifully executed. Story with a terrific athletic play to get that throw on the money to home plate. Narvaez with the tag.
It was a fantastic throw right on the money from Story. He had to go a long way to catch this ball. See from Duran's throw, look at his body. He's going the other way, and he still puts it on the money.
Diamond to Fenway Park, for crying out loud, with the way I'm talking about it. It's their inability to execute the most basic things. All of a sudden they do it, and you're like, hey, what do you know? Look at what we have here. Except the one thing I haven't said is what Lou Merlone just said and what Dave O'Brien said. Trevor Story, the throw from Duran was not a great throw. So the idea of a good relay is one that comes, to the catcher's, let's call it his left side. I mean, I say the catcher's left side. The shortstop's left side. He's making the relay. So that he can catch it and turn as he naturally would to throw, which is counterclockwise. Well, in this play, Duran threw it to the opposite side. Story had to backhand it and then spin around the opposite way and throw back across his body to get the guy at the plate. Now, fortunately, Story executed it. It was not a perfect relay by any stretch of the imagination. If the play had been closer, that time where he had to spin, that Story had to spin the other way, that time might have cost you a run at the plate. But because, again, the ball never hit the ground, so that's good. But because the runner was beaten so easily to the plate, he was able to, in this case, turn clockwise and then make the throw and get it there. But it was not a perfectly executed play. It was better than what they've done this year. It was still not totally right. Back to your calls. Rob in California. Rob, what do you got?
Hey there. Hey, yeah, so these last few games, everyone's talking about how awful the Rockies and the Nats are and everything, and that's all well and good, but, I mean, the Sox were scoring 9 runs a game on these guys. They were tripling up on them, and I understand they're bad teams, but, still, I mean, there's something there. It's not like they're just barely eking out wins against these guys. It just seems like when...
Yeah, Rob, I understand, and thank you for the call. I would just tell you, be careful with that. And when I say that, I mean about the run differential. Do you realize that the Colorado Rockies have been outscored by 251 runs, and we're only a little bit more than halfway through the season? They are far and away the worst team in baseball. They're worse than the Chicago White Sox last year. Jim Murray had this stat earlier. The Rockies have already allowed, in 32 games this year, 10 or more runs. 10 or more runs 32 times. The White Sox last year, it happened to them, I think Murray said 30 or 31 times all year. So this Rockies team might be twice as bad as the White Sox of a year ago, independent of what the one-loss record is. Name a guy for me on the Rockies, and they're starting 9. I said this last night. I just watched a good chunk of the last 3 games. I can't tell you any of the players on the Rockies. I know they have an outfielder whose last name ends with an M, or begins with an M, who has 13 home runs. I don't know what the guy's name is. But he caught my eye because his numbers actually looked half decent. I couldn't tell you who the rest of them are. None. 0. And again, we toss this word around a lot on the afternoon show and on this one. But they blow. They are. That is as bad a baseball team as I've ever seen. Horrendously bad. They could get outscored by 400, 450 runs this year. That's how bad it is. Nick at Attleboro. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Tony, thanks for taking my call. So I agree with your take. I would love for the Sox to be able to get Ryan, but we both know the Sox probably aren't going to pony up those prospects. So my question for you, Tony, is what's another realistic either starter or relief pitcher that Duran can get in a return? And thank you for taking my call, Tony.
So listen, thank you for the call, Nick. Honestly, I haven't followed the market as closely as I normally would, or as much as I used to when I was, covering the sport on a daily basis. And honestly, it's hard to know as well who's going to be available on the market because sometimes these names pop up that nobody expected. So when I heard Joe Ryan today, I immediately, because I don't think the pitching market was supposed to be that great. Neither was the offensive market for that matter. And part of the reason is that so many teams are in the race now that no one really wants to sell. But when Jimmy mentioned Joe Ryan, my ears perked up. So I like Ryan a lot, and not for the reasons that you think. He's not Paul Skeens. He doesn't strike out 12 guys a game. He throws 94 miles an hour, but he's got a very sort of simple, fluid delivery. And his power is deceptive, which is to tell you he doesn't throw 97, 98. It's usually around 94. But he spots the ball well. He doesn't walk anybody. And, the fastball plays faster than it reads on the gun because he knows how to locate it and knows how to set it up. And he's a pretty solidly built kid. So I think he's durable, but with pitchers, that's dangerous to say because they all break down. Every single one of them. So, but do I think Joe Ryan can win against good competition and get you into the sixth inning and give you a chance and fit in nicely behind Garrett Crochet? Yes, I do. I believe that wholeheartedly. 617-779-0985. We'll wrap it up with your calls. And I want to give you a little breakdown of the Red Sox and the Rays. And I don't mean for this series. I mean, comparatively speaking, what they've been over the last several years. We'll do that when we come back on the Baseball Hour. now officially declare as the worst team I've ever seen. Holy crap, did they suck. Wow. Talk about a team completely devoid of talent. But that's not really why I think this is important, or it's only part of the reason that this is an important series against Tampa Bay. Since the start of the 2020 season, the COVID season, since trading Mookie Betts, if you want to make it simple, the Red Sox have played 80 games against Tampa Bay. Regular season. 80 games. They've lost 50 of them. They are 30-50 against the Rays. They are 14-21 at Fenway Park. It's embarrassing. Tampa Bay during that span has, and let me give you this correctly. Tampa Bay has the third best record in all of baseball, behind only the Dodgers and the Phillies. The Red Sox are 17th. So now you want to tell me that the Rays are the best run organization in the sport from an analytical perspective, and that this is what John Henry wants to be? Fine, yes. For a team that spends no money, they win a crap ton. But the part about the no money, they spend half, less than half of what the Red Sox spend. And they have kicked your ass for 5 years. This year, the Red Sox are 4-2, though they've been outscored. Nonetheless, a win is a win. So the Red Sox are 4-2 this year. Even with that, Tampa Bay is 50-30 against the Red Sox in the last 5.5 seasons. The Red Sox spend more than double what the Rays have spent. And you're going to get your ass kicked by them still? So you've now committed to this model with all these young players. You're trying to do it the Tampa Bay way. You're trying to cut costs, bring players through the system, develop pitching, tap into potential that has not been necessarily, harvested yet. And you want to be them, you got to beat them first. They have kicked your ass for 5.5 years. Kicked it. You beat them, start to turn the tables, maybe you can actually make the playoffs. Vinny's in Providence. Vinny, what do you got?
Hey, Tony. So for 2 years, you've been going back and forth about this Durant thing. Now we finally got a player that provides leadership, helps with the chemistry of this team. He plays the game the right way, and he plays the game and puts up numbers. We want to ship him out of town. I want Ryan, too, but not at the expense of getting rid of Durant.
How do you want to get him, then?
He's a catalyst on this team.
How do you want to get him?
I don't know. We got to put our heads together. Maybe Rafaela. This it's his first time playing well since he's been in the MLB. Maybe something with him. But why do we want to get rid of a guy that's literally the main part of the chemistry of this team?
Okay, so I don't think he's as big a part of the chemistry as you do. I think people overrate that. I think he's kind of a wild card, frankly. He plays hard, I'll give you that. But don't confuse playing hard with leadership, because I don't really think there's a whole hell of a lot of leadership there. The guy feels like, again, just a little on the edge to me, too much for my liking. Do I think he sucks? No, I don't. He's okay. And you say he's a catalyst? If he's such a catalyst, how come their offense sucked for the first 80 games? He doesn't walk. He's not a great on-base guy. A prior caller pointed this out. He does not running that much lately either. So they clearly don't want him to get hurt. He's not nearly the outfielder that people like you think he is. 5
errors leading all outfielders in Major League Baseball. And by the Stu count, 7 misplays in the outfield. That's potentially 13 errors.
I'll be honest with you. I think he kind of sucks in the outfield. I do. I think he kind of sucks. He gets away with it at Fenway Park because he can play left field and he can run fast. So some of the mistakes he makes, he can run balls down. He has the raw athleticism to erase the mistake. But him and Rafaela in the outfield, not even close. Don't even belong in the same solar system. Not even close. Watch Rafaela move. Watch how graceful he is. Then watch Duran run around out there like he's trying to catch a bus. It's just not the same. Not even close. And why do I want to trade him? because you've got 4 starting outfielders for 3 spots. He's the oldest one in the group, and he's also the one to me that feels most volatile. That's why. If they didn't have 4 outfielders, are they looking to move him? Not necessarily. But I think Abreu's better. Raphael is better because he plays center. And Anthony's way better. Joe Murray's coming up next, right, Jimmy? Is it Murray next? Majority's got your headlines. We'll catch you tomorrow.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox made it 6 in a row last night as they completed a sweep of the Colorado Rockies. Now they must face real competition as they welcome in the Tampa Bay Rays to Fenway Park for a 4-game set. Walker Buehler will start for the Sox tonight. Tampa counters with Taj Bradley. First pitch, 7:10. NBA news today, Jake Weinbach, NBA insider, reports that a potential reunion between Marcus Smart and the Celtics would not be off the table. However, the New York Post is reporting that, according to a source, the Knicks are monitoring the situation with Marcus Smart. On a recent live stream, Giannis Antetokounmpo said he will probably stay with the Bucks and added that he loves Milwaukee. Oklahoma City Thunder's Jalen Williams has agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension that could reach $287 million. And Anthony Slater, who covers the Golden State Warriors for The Athletic, tweeting today that Steph Curry, when asked about Al Horford possibly joining the Warriors, said he's a champion, a great player. When all that stuff happens, I'll talk about it. So Curry possibly dropping a hint there about Al Horford and the Warriors. And at Wimbledon today, American Amanda Anisimova upset the top-seeded Aryna Sabalenka in 3 sets to reach the final. She will face Iga Swiatek, who won in straight sets. Sports Up headlines are brought to you by Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipelining, Drains